All right, everybody. Welcome to Best Coast Podcast. I'm your host, JJ. This is your host, Zack. This is Best Coast Podcast where camaraderie brings rivalry sports fans together, like me and this guy. And I want to mention it because you just said it. This is the most Thursdayest Monday, or Mondayest Thursday I've ever been a part of. It was a pain in the ass today to go back to work, so I'm right there with you.
That alarm went off this morning, and I was just like, "Fuck!"
Wanted to throw my phone across the room. Yeah.
No, yeah. Even my dog was like, "What, dude? What? We haven't had an alarm in 10 days. What's up?" I was like, "Dude, it sucks. Well, I'm not happy about it either. You know."
Right. Yeah. No, it was a weird day today. No one wanted to be there, but everything was hot and wanted to get out today.
See, I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff. I look at this as getting like a rolling start into the new year. The new year really starts on Monday. You know, we're kind of get like some things straightened up, make sure there's nothing super ridiculous going on.
No, we were behind.
Although I was reminded that I work with morons, and there's a point today where I'm just like, how can corporate America have so much money and be so completely? It's like monkeys trying to fuck a football all day long. It feels like it's
so, I'm right there with you. I understand. I'm in a corporate world now too. So.
Yeah, and I didn't win that $1.2 billion lotto ticket. So back to work it is.
Someone in California won it. I was like, hey, I had my fingers crossed when I heard that.
No, ironically, I actually bought a lotto ticket when I was in California. When I saw that, I was just like,
yeah.
But no.
That's what I said. I was like, fingers crossed. I would have heard something, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have said something.
Oh yeah, it would have been see ya. I'm tired, man. We're done with this.
All right. So it's been a great week of sports, even though football's rolling down, but the college football playoffs are here, and I think they are here to stay. Yes. They do need some tweaks to work out, but all in all, they are great and fun to watch.
The game's been good. There's been some real like the coming out of Cam Scattaboo is, I think, a great story to see. The Penn State defense is, if I'm Notre Dame,
stellar.
I'm worried about that. Like, that defense can really stop anybody.
Right.
And I think the beauty of this tournament and the way this worked out is, before, when it was just the 4 teams, it was kind of easy to pick who was going to get to it. Now you're going to have a 2-loss team that's probably going to be hoisting the national championship trophy here. It's been fun to watch. The way Ohio State beat up on Oregon.
That was insane. I didn't see that coming.
The game was over at halftime. The game was absolutely, they got blown out of the water. I don't know if that's, and we discussed this a little bit off the air, if that had to do with the extended layoff for Oregon, or did they just get out game planned by Ryan Day? Did they not bother to look at any of the Michigan tape? Like, how did that happen,
I was saying, I think it was the extended break. It really hurt, because it's hard to keep a team, keep that rust off for such a long period of time. And you kind of saw it too. Even though like Arizona State didn't have as long as a break, that first half they were rusty. That second half they came out and they were a different team.
I'm going to disagree with you in terms of that. I think that Arizona, like, let's be honest here, the talent level between recruiting at Texas and recruiting at Arizona State is here and here.
Right.
The way Arizona State bounced back and made that a game, and it's granted a couple missed kicks on, behalf of that goofy-haired Texas kicker, helped keep them in the game. But Arizona State rode their big dog, Scattaboo. I mean, the guy had thrown a touchdown pass, to get to where
Yeah.
So I think that's some of the good stories you get out of that, because you are going to get some smaller schools in there. I think Boise State had a really good showing. They're not going to get rid of these games because of the advertising dollars and the butts that they put in the seats. So this isn't going anywhere. Yeah, there's probably going to be some tweaks. The people that do the Final 12, we'll see if an SMU or a school like that gets in. But if you win your conference, there's no, it's not going to be like an 11-0 team you used to see getting left out of the CFP. Those days are over.
Right.
So, and I think it's good. It's good for the game. It's good for exposure for these guys. People want to complain about NIL money and, that it's not like how it used to be. Well, it's $1 billion industry. These kids are getting paid. So let's give them the opportunity to go and get themselves on a bigger stage to get some of that money. And even they do get hurt or have to go play for like the Browns or Giants or Raiders or someone like that.
Well, and I was going to say another thing about the wrestling. Look at the Notre Dame game today. Georgia came out like crap. Let's face it. Like, and Notre Dame threw how many penalties in the first half? I felt like that kind of kept Georgia in there a little bit more.
Let's also remember this is Georgia's backup quarterback.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
And Notre Dame did what they had to do. They brought the heat at that kid. I think I saw a stat. They brought pressure on 50% of their defensive snaps. That's what you do as a young quarterback.
Something like that.
And if Georgia doesn't turn that ball over at the end of the first half and give up that opening kickoff to start the second half, this is a completely different ballgame. It really, really is. So I think Georgia did the best they could with what they were dealt. But I mean, how are you going to cram a season's worth of experience of running an offense into a 3-week window? It doesn't go well. Everyone knew they were going to feed Etienne a bunch. Notre Dame knew that too. And this Notre Dame defense is, one of the top ones in the nation for a reason. And they definitely showed out today. Speaking of that, I think both teams having to pivot on the fly with the events of what happened in New Orleans yesterday, or I guess it would have been yesterday morning, early.
Something like that, yeah.
Props to the staff, props to the city of New Orleans for trying to do what they can to deal with just really it's a shit situation. I'll leave it at that. I'm not no reason to get into the politics of it, but these are people were just out celebrating, and it just sucks that we live in a world where you have to worry about stuff like that. So again, props to the teams to be able to pivot, get things figured out, and then get back and put on a good showing for everyone today.
Yeah, I think they did it found phenomenal. Delay it, make sure everybody's safe. Make sure the stadium's safe, and and then play it the next day. Don't get me wrong; it's a city of mourning right now. Everybody's mourning in that city, but you can't let someone like that win and delay it for any longer than what they did.
Well, really, and what do? Do you move it to another location? Like, really, the logistics of it.
Right.
They really did.
You got to think.
I don't want to say they didn't have a choice, but they really didn't have a choice.
Right. Like, what are you going to do with all the people that are there right now? You're just going to tell them all to leave? They would be even more upset, and you would probably cause even more chaos to the city.
Well, you're going to have 70,000 extra people, at the airport or on the roads. What do you do with ticket refunds? I mean, there's a lot to sort out there. So, really, and I hate to use this word because we've used it too much the last 5 years, an unprecedented sort of situation. But I think that it was handled as best as it could. And especially, there's still so many unanswered questions regarding, what happened. As you're walking down Bourbon Street, trying to pregame, and you see police tape and stuff like that. Like, what are you?
So strange.
How do you kind of wrap your head around that and go and watch a football game? So, yeah, man, crazy times we live in here. So. But the Final Four are set. Both games will be next Thursday. We'll touch on the matchups there in a little bit, throw in our picks. And at this point, man, I think any one of these four teams can win the whole thing.
Yeah. I think so too. Let's see who's still in here.
It's not like the years past, like when Georgia played TCU, like everyone knew that was going to be an absolute massacre, and it was even a bigger massacre than anybody thought. Or all those Saban teams they would go through and just take everyone apart.
Right. We got Ohio State versus Texas and Notre Dame versus Penn State.
Great matchups, classic matchups. Those are storied franchises there. Like this is as good as this is really. I think when they expanded the college football playoff, this is the type of stuff they wanted to get, and we've got.
I think so too.
It's going to be fantastic. And I'm sorry, one game is next Thursday, one game is next Friday.
Is it next Thursday and Friday? I thought so. Yeah,
I staggered them. Yeah,
it's like the 9th and 8th or something like that.
That would be the.
I didn't look when I was looking at it.
It's the 9th.
I didn't look at the days. 9th and 10th. Okay. But yeah, so let's go ahead and pick them though, since we're here. Ohio State, so what Ohio State came out and did versus Oregon was totally different. They've been all of a sudden. What is it? Not Kirby. What's Kyle? No. What's their offensive coordinator name?
Ohio State?
Yeah. He was the Fournette.
Head coach is Ryan Day.
But their offensive coordinator is Chip Kelly. Is the
Chip
Kelly defense? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Chip Kelly came out with a totally different game plan these last two games after losing to Michigan.
Well, let's remember, Chip
shows.
Kelly was the head coach at Oregon for a long time. And granted, they didn't fire him. He left to go to the NFL. But I'm sure there was a little extra oomph want to put it back on your old boss.
Oh,
So they came out
100%.
really, I as well as Ohio State played, and they came out with their foot all the way on the gas. I have to look at mainly the Oregon coaching staff. They didn't look ready. They looked unprepared, and that's coaching.
I agree.
That's the coaching staff 110% of the time.
After watching that game, I completely agree with you. Like they were just completely outmatched, outgunned in every situation. It felt like all three phases of the game, kicking, uh, defense, and offense. They just looked like a team that deserved to be in the playoffs, and Oregon didn't.
Well, I gotta look at something. I want to see where these matchups are real quick.
Yeah, I didn't look at that. But what about Texas, man? I think Texas actually has a shot to beat Ohio State. Like, honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards Texas and Quentin Ewers to put up a good show against this Ohio defense, man. Texas, is a football state for a reason.
The Cotton Bowl, which is going to be Texas and Ohio State, is at AT&T Stadium in Texas. That's a home game for Texas. So
yeah, that's a home game.
I'm hook 'em horns. That's where I'm going with the horns on that one.
All right, you're going to take them with the points, huh?
Yeah, I'll take them with the points.
And we're not going to talk about last week's because me and Zack did not do very well last week in the last division round, so we'll just kind of skip that.
I have a feeling that a lot of people in this initial round of the college football playoffs didn't do very well either. a lot of money was lost. Might have been some lean Christmases in a couple households. Yeah, that's how that goes. Notre Dame and Penn State. This is a tricky one because these are I think the two most gangster defenses left out of the four of them.
Right. I'm going to go with Notre Dame, honestly. I'm going to say I just like the way that they're playing. They're playing smart football.
I'm going to go with Penn State. I really think that the Penn State defense is going to cause issues. They're going to get a big turnover. I think you're going to see a pick six. I think that you're going to see the Penn State defense really pin back their ears and go get them.
I could see that too. I could definitely see that. I don't know. I like the way that the coach is coaching Notre Dame right now. Marcus Freeman, he's just, I don't know. I think he's on point with He's got his players playing the way you should be playing.
He's a player's coach. Football. He's definitely a player's coach. You can see that too. By the way, Notre Dame, Penn State, that is the Friday game. Is that right? No, it's not.
Oh, they're going to play Friday, even though they got delayed day?
No. They're playing Thursday. Is Penn? Oh yeah, okay. Penn State and Notre Dame. Yeah, so they. That is the Orange Bowl, which is in Florida, I believe. Yeah, it's at Hard Rock Stadium. So that's more of a neutral site game.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a neutral site game.
Right. Although at the same time, from those colder states, people are going to travel because it's it's single digits out in this part of the country right now. It sucks. It fucking sucks. Like,
I bet it does.
It's single digits and getting colder. It's great. Man, I'm glad I fucking moved here. So. I think that the Penn State defense is playing the type of defense that can control the flow of games, and it's the old anaconda choke. Is that they get you down, they wrap you up, and they just squeeze life out of you until you got nothing to do. You've got receivers who can't get open. You've got offensive linemen getting confused. You got quarterbacks who are going to get frustrated. You got receivers who are going to get mad. They're going to start pointing the fingers at each other, and that defense is just going to clamp. So that's why I'm picking.
I like the way that Notre Dame's quarterback's playing. He's playing like Josh Allen. He's playing like a man possessed. He wants to go and put his mark on this championship. I feel like he's making sure he's throwing guys open. He's running the ball when he has to, and he's taking the big hits if he has to. But he's playing smart otherwise, and he's not taking hits when he doesn't have to.
Right, so. And I do feel like this entire Notre Dame team has taken the knock on Notre Dame the last 5 to 7 years that they don't belong in the CFP conversation. They don't play in a conference. Yeah. They're an independent, blah, 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 blah. I think they finally got tired of hearing that, and they're going and showing that they do belong. I have been one of those people who has said that Notre Dame doesn't belong here because they get into the CFP and get beat by 30.
And they get bounced.
They've shown that they do belong, so I'm not going to argue with them about that. But I just feel like that Penn State defense, man, it is, like I said, they're an anaconda. Too much. It's overwhelming.
It's gonna be interesting to watch. That's for sure. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to both these bowl games when they're coming up.
For sure.
I haven't been keeping up with the other bowl games just because they're not as just because people still sit out, and I kind of hate that shit. For
watch. I've had some on in the background. I've been roaming around.
Right, that's what I mean. I've been doing the same. I haven't been really watching them, but I just have them on in the background, kind of like, oh, cool, this is interesting. What happened? Someone yelled. Oh, there you go. That's interesting.
And normally I do pay a
Watch the
little bit
replay.
more attention because these are the games that give these kids a showcase, like to get into the draft, get invited to the combine, get some tape on them, and be able to try to get to that next level. Because that's really what it's all about here. Yeah, you can make some money now playing in college, but really, it's all about playing all.
But a lot of them still sit out, though. I mean, so many players sit out.
Some players do, but I'm thinking like offensive linemen, defensive linemen. You rarely see defensive players sit out. You see a lot of skill players sit out. You rarely see people on the defensive side of the ball sit out.
Right.
And if anything, it works in their favor because they're not having to go and chase down, Heisman semifinalists.
Like Cam Ward doing it all over you.
They're going after backups and bringing the woods. So, what was the game I watched the other day? Virginia Tech and Illinois, where the coaches almost got into a fight.
Oh yeah, because they went over there and taunted them.
I'm sorry, that was a classless, tacky ass move by Brett Bielema. I really thought that was some Bush League shit right there. And I like Shane Beamer, coming after him. That's what I like to see because you also see how fired up his team got on the sidelines after that. Again, that's a player's coach right there. And I like seeing stuff like that.
That's what you want as a coach.
Exactly.
That's what I want out of my coach.
Well, especially in college with those young dudes like that, that's what you show them. I was like, I got your back. Like, no one's going to disrespect us like that. And I really appreciated that. I do have a question, though, and maybe you know the answer to this. So I get that the refs can allow the defense to make a change, to bring in defensive players after the offense makes a change of personnel. But if they are constantly shuttling people on and off the field while the play clock is clicking down, how does that end up being either a delay of game on the offense or the offense has to burn a timeout?
So I forget what the rule is, but they are allowed so many seconds after the last offensive shift or change. So they're allowed so many seconds, and it's like a reasonable amount of time, I think they call it. And so it's like an official judgment. So if you change two guys at like 10 seconds, then they probably get like that whole 10 seconds to change those two guys too.
I just thought it was really, because in that same game we were just talking about, they were wrestling guys on and off the field on the defensive side, and Virginia Tech ended up having to burn a timeout because the play clock was clicking down to like 1 or 2 seconds. The ref wasn't allowing them to snap it. And to me, that doesn't make any sense. That shouldn't be a delay game penalty right there.
Right. And I didn't see the play, so I wouldn't be able to know when. Like I said, it depends when. To me, it depends when the last offensive guy changed, and how many of them changed. If it's one player, then the reasonable amount of time is probably like 3 or 5 seconds. If it's 2 or 3 players, then it's probably like 10, 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
And again, I don't know the nuances of the college game like that, and that's my lack of wisdom and do the research on it. But I just thought that was an interesting thing I saw.
Like in the Georgia game today, when the whole punting team left the field and the whole new defensive side came on, I was watching the game clock. It was 21 seconds when Notre Dame decided to run off the field, and he didn't let them snap the ball until like 5 seconds left. So that's when they let him snap.
Well, that was the one where there was a penalty, and then there was another penalty, and it was just like
no. There was just one penalty. And that was when Georgia jumped off sides.
Okay,
that was the punt before. There was a punt before that by Georgia where they had a delay of game by the defense. I've never heard delay of game by defense.
So that's what I think is when they're shuffling players on and off the field.
What the announcer said? The announcer said that they were shouting the snap call. The defensive was shouting the snap call to force him to jump off sides.
I've actually heard a bunch of announcers say that in the bowl games over the weekend. That apparently you can't do that. That's against the rules.
You can't call out their snap call. You can call your own plays, but you can't call out what how that goes. Here we go. You can't be out there going, here we go. So you can't be kind of calling that shit out. So.
You know what you got to do is go and have your offense take like a French class. And start calling out snap counts in French or like Greek or Cyrillic, something off the wall. archaic, kind of dead language.
Right. There you go. And they're all gonna be confused. So that's what happened in that. That's what I believe happened in
Okay.
that when they had the multiple
Wow.
calls. But the other delay game, I don't know when they're, like I said, it's a more of an official judgment from what I understand, and they're watching the play clock, but they're also trying to put a timer on when someone new can come in.
That makes more sense than that. So, okay. Well, thank you for clarifying.
It's confusing. It's confusing as hell because there's no official time. They just kind of like they wing it, right?
Yeah,
And
we're close. We can get it done. Yeah.
yeah. So if they're gonna change at the last second, if you're gonna change with 5 seconds left, you're not gonna get that play clock off. If you're gonna change with like under 15 seconds, you're gonna have 3 or 4 seconds to do your shifts and motion and then get that play clock off. So, and that's up to you after that point.
Cool.
All right. Well, you want to move on to on Sunday pro football?
Let's do it. Now, these are going to be tricky because some people are sitting, some people are starting and not playing a lot. Like, yeah, it's the whole chingadera.
I was going to say it is the second or third hardest games to pick in this go around.
Week
the
18?
first, yeah, the first is the first week because you have no idea who's who, and then week 2 because you still don't know who's who. But this in week 2 is like they're tied because you don't know who's sitting, who's playing. We don't know who's sitting, who's playing.
I was trying to do some research today and scroll through it, and it's like, well, so and so is going to start. There's a handful of players who have been ruled out, so that makes it a little bit easier. But it's like Josh Allen, he's going to play. Is he going to play a series? Is he going to play a quarter? Yeah,
he's going to play one snap. That's what I heard. So you won last week, 8-9, 50%, not too bad. You got the Rams-Cardinals game right and the Titans-Jags game right, where I got the Bills just beating the shit out of the Jets. So we both lost the Colts, Giants, and Cowboys-Eagles because they both just... Who knew the Colts were going to take such a big dive and just not show up against the Giants?
The Cowboys in that game? Cowboys-Eagles?
Yeah, we both picked the Cowboys. Because it was 7.5 points. And their defense was...
Okay, yeah, we got beat by bread, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cowboys got beat on and off the field. There was a brawl in the tunnel that they got their ass kicked on.
I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about the brawl in the tunnel.
Look at the footage on that, dude. There was a DB and a wide receiver got into a scuffle, and then someone got thrown into a tunnel, and security guards had to break them up. It was December. NFC East football. It was glorious.
That is awesome to hear. I really like that. I mean, these two teams hate each other for a reason. So, and just to hear it to carry over like that, it's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Well, especially because the Cowboys are just, I get they've been racked by injuries this year and haven't had the star players and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. You guys are super unlikable when you guys are so unlikable that I'm cheering for the Eagles over you. That says a lot.
It totally does. I'm right there with you. Cowboys fans, I can't really stand too much. So, no. All right. Here we go. The first game of the week is a huge slap in the face for any Browns fan. Ravens versus Browns at Baltimore. The Ravens got 20 points on it. This by the time Sunday happens, this is going to be 21, 22 points because they're trying to get that spread back there.
Bailey Zappi is now getting the start for the Browns.
Is he?
Yeah. So, yes, I'm going with the Ravens at home to cover.
Same. I can't just pick the Browns. I mean, it's just especially a poor showing that they showed up with whatever Damian Thomas Robinson, whatever his name is. He just looks so bad. And if they're going to go with Billy Zappi, that's going to be at that point. You might as well throw the other dude back in there, Winston, and at least you have some good clips and cameos for your last week.
Yeah, get some good audio, some good one-liners. Give us something.
Exactly.
Here. I'm starting to wonder, does Stefanski keep his job after this year?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
We'll see though.
I can see him getting one more year, but they've got to figure out that quarterback situation. And really, I think clearing out the quarterback room is the first place to start. You might have to eat the Watson contract. Jameis Winston isn't the answer. I mean, you're going to have a top 5 pick. You do have weapons. The Browns, it's not like the Browns don't have offensive talent.
No.
I just feel like that the Deshaun Watson trade just poisoned the waters. So
It did, and he's just a huge poison in the locker room. I think that's all it is. You know, as soon as you get rid of him, and whoever's idea was to get him, you need to fire him too.
That was ownership. So I don't know if you can get rid of the Haslam's.
That was the dumbest thing you could have ever done. Owners need to stop what they're doing, and hire a team manager to manage your team, like your general manager, and just let them do their thing. Hire a competent manager and then stay the fuck away from it. No offense.
Stop trying to pretend you're 1990s Jerry Jones and let football make football decisions. Do what Jed York finally did, which is shut up and write checks.
Exactly. You know, no offense. You know how to make millions of dollars and billions of dollars. Just don't try to run a football team because it's not the same.
Speaking of the Browns, did you hear what the city of Cleveland is doing?
No.
So there is a rule called that after the Browns left the first time, called the Modell rule, that if a team is attempting to move out of the Cleveland metropolitan area, like that certain district, is that they need to give the city the right of first refusal on the opportunity to buy the team.
I love it. I love it because they've lost. I think they've lost 12 teams, mainly because when the football was first starting, a lot of teams came out of the Cleveland area. Yeah. I know the Rams started in Cleveland. The Colts started in the original Colts started in Cleveland. There's a bunch of teams that started in Cleveland and finally left. So I get it. I'd want, if I was the Browns, I'd want the same thing.
Yeah, so they're trying to move like 15 miles south of Cleveland and to like build a dome and like all this other stuff. And I get it. Like where it's located on Lake Erie, it's not the best ingress and egress, but it's not that old of a stadium. And I just really feel like the Haslams are being greedy here, like all owners are.
Right.
But I respect the city of Cleveland for being like, the fuck you are. You know, like, no, dude, like.
At least they would still be considered the Cleveland Browns, how like San Francisco 49ers are still considered.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're 15 miles south of Cleveland. Like, they're still going to be the Cleveland Browns for sure. But it's another blow to the city of Cleveland and their downtown area. Like, their stadium is right there on the water, right next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and right next to, like, the nightlife area of downtown Cleveland. It's a couple blocks away from the baseball stadium down there. Like,
yeah, you can't move that stadium.
What and the city even is like, hey man, like, you need $60 million for stadium upgrades. We got you. And they're like, no, we really want a roof. And it's like, well, no, I'm not getting that.
Right. You know, unless you can build a roof for $60 million on there, get one of those giant bubbles every once in a while and throw them up over it. You know, who cares?
But then if you do that, you don't get that awesome snow footage from Thursday night against the Steelers earlier this year.
Exactly. Trust me, I love that. But as a player, I would hate that. As a fan, I love it. As a player, I would hate that personally.
Right, but I'm sorry, that's AFC North football. That's AFC East football in this time of year. You know, this is part of how it goes. Look, there's plenty of other teams out there that have domes in crap weather. Minnesota, we're looking at you.
I think because you have to have a dome because everybody would just freeze to death in Minnesota right now. Yeah. Forcing everybody to be out in the stadium right now, like everybody would just turn into a giant icicle out there.
Let me look at something here. This Sunday we're gonna have, with the wind chill, you're gonna have a high of 2 with a low of -7. So yeah, I guess you got to do that so people don't die.
It's like in Winnipeg where they have the Jets in hockey. Everything's underground. No one travels outside of the
same thing here. There's
underground tunnels.
When I moved here, it was in May, and I was like, "What are all these fucking tunnels like above the ground?" And they're like, "Oh, you'll see." And like that's the skyway. When I venture out in the winter, I'm like, "Okay, it makes sense actually." Like, well played, Minnesota. So
yeah, you have to, man. It's too cold outside otherwise.
Anyhow, on to more cold weather games. Bengals Steelers.
Yeah, Bengals Steelers. Bengals are favored by 2 points.
Well, the Bengals are playing for
And
their playoff life. They need to play. They
right.
don't. They need to win and need help to get in. If I understand
I
correctly.
believe so. Yeah, I believe so. I don't remember. I don't know exactly how it is. I made the playoff bracket, but I don't know how far out they are. And Steelers are on a losing streak. They're on like a 4-game losing streak.
Right, because they haven't had George Pickens, and they're averaging, I think, almost a full touchdown less a game without him. George Pickens is back and healthy, but I think Joe Burrow and that wide receiver duo playing for their playoff lives. I got to go with the Bengals in this one.
Same. It's only 2 points, so yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. I've been a Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase fan all year long. I think Joe Burrow should definitely be the MVP with the way he's playing, because even though his defense sucks, he's been putting up the points and the yardage and the lack of interceptions to prove that he's at least a candidate for the MVP race.
So I saw not a stat, but like a breakdown the other day where it's like Burrow has the best wide receivers, Lamar has the best tight end and running backs, Josh Allen has the best offensive line. You can make an argument for any of three of those guys. I think that what sets it apart is Josh Allen throwing and running.
Right.
That's what sets Josh Allen apart for me. I don't think they're going to give it to Lamar because he's won the last two. I don't think the Bengals have won enough games. The way they came out of the gate slow, they look terrible at points this season. So that's why I don't think Burrow gets it. I think Josh Allen gets his first MVP this year.
I do too. Like I said, I just think he should at least be in the candidacy for the MVP. The way he's played.
Both he and Lamar will get votes for sure. Saquon's going to get some votes.
Dude, that's another guy who should be in there too. But it's a quarterback. At this point, it's a quarterback trophy, and they should stop calling MVP.
If they were to play Saquon this Sunday and not sit him, and he were to break Eric Dickerson's record, I think that would almost propel him. I think into the lead.
I agree.
But I also agree with the idea to sit him.
Yeah, I was going to say you have to sit him. Honestly, you can't risk
him. You gain nothing by playing him, and you have a nightmare scenario if he gets hurt.
And even Saquon's like, either way, I'm happy. Yeah. Because he knows, like, if he goes out there and gets hurt, he loses his chance for a Super Bowl. This is his chance for a Super Bowl. Who cares about individual trophies? This is your chance for a Super Bowl.
Only one trophy that matters. That's right.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the next one. Panthers Falcons.
Playoff implications. Falcons need to win
to stay in, and I think the Buccaneers need to lose in order for them to get into the playoffs. So. Because they can only win by taking their division.
Here's the thing, though, is the Panthers really seem to have gotten it figured out down the stretch here. They're looking like a real football team for the first time in years. I think the Panthers cover that 8.
I was going to be right there with you. That's not high enough for me. If this would have been 9 or 10, then I would take the Falcons. Or sorry, like a 6 or a 5. Then I would take. Yeah, I would take that away. But this is a little too close, and they've been playing. It's a division rivalry game at that too.
What? And they can play and the Panthers can play spoilers. Yeah,
everybody loves to play spoilers.
They're all bricked up trying to ruin the Falcon season right now for sure.
Exactly, 100%, 100%. Next up, we got the Bills Patriots. Everybody's sitting except for Josh Allen for the first snap, and then everybody else is going to sit pretty much. Yeah. But I still think the Patriots are too shitty in order to get the cover spread.
Who is the Bills' backup quarterback?
Trubisky?
It is Trubumsky. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's got the skills to do it.
I'm going with the Bills.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm taking the Bills with the points. I think the Patriots' defense isn't there, and their offense definitely isn't there.
No, they're not. But again, with what I see from Drake May every week, I really, really like.
He's improving.
And I think the Patriots are probably going to end up with the number 1 pick. They don't need a quarterback, so I can see them trading back, staying in the top 3, and amassing picks, which is what they need.
Do you hear the rumor that they want to do?
No.
They want to trade Drake. This is the stupid rumor I heard. Trade Drake May to the Titans, get an early round pick so they can get the Shador and what's his face?
Travis Hunter.
Hunter, and then hire Sanders as their head coach.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Yeah, I saw that on the internet too. I was just like, what are people thinking? First off, the Titans aren't going to want that. They're going to want to try to draft their own player that they did their own research on. Second of all, Drake May is looking great, and Jamar Mayo is first year as his coach with nobody on his roster, and he actually put up a competitive roster for the first half of the season.
They have been in a lot of games this year. They've been a competitive team. Yeah, they got blown out like the Niners blew them out. They've been blown out a couple of times. They've also won games they had no business winning. They've been in a lot of contests. No, I think Gerard Mayo is doing a great job with what he's been given, and knowing that this is going to be a multi-year rebuild here. You're going to have a number one pick. You're going to be able to either go and take a lineman or Travis Hunter or I mean, there's
or
lots
trade
of
back. Trade back and get tons of picks.
Someone wants Shedeur Sanders at number one, so they're going to give you. Someone's going to want to jump up to get that. Get amass picks, build your roster. So the Patriots are in a great position right now with that. That's just retarded.
And I still think Cam Ward's going to be the steal of the draft. I think he's going to be a little bit better of a quarterback, but we'll see how that goes. We'll talk more about that as
we get closer to draft time. Yeah.
Yeah. But right now, Sanders is going to be a number one draft pick from what everybody's saying.
Yeah.
All right. Bears, Packers. Packers are still playing for a better seeding.
Yes.
Because they could get bounced by Washington, or I don't think they can get bounced, but they're just playing for better seeding.
They can fall all the way to the 7th seed, so they need to win. The Bears, this is a lost season for them at this point. I think the Pack win and win easily.
Same. Do you think they cover the 10 points?
I do.
I do. Yeah, I do too. That 10 points is just too much. I don't see anything. I don't see the Bears. Even though the Bears put it on the Packers last time, I think their spirits are just broken. They can't even play. Spoiler at this point. It's done. Caleb Williams is going to be crying half the
season. They're thinking about taking a vacation.
He's
getting help.
Williams is seeing where he can travel Chicago to go get all of his nails done all year round. So, that's it. Here's going to be another interesting one. Saints Buccaneers. If Carr was here, this would be a lower score. I would go with the Saints to get spoilers.
No, he's not. He's not. Okay.
No, he broke his throwing hand. He's done. He's done for the season. I think at one point he had to get surgery.
No, he didn't have to. He didn't have to have surgery.
Oh, he didn't have to have surgery? But Spencer Rattler is going to be the starting quarterback, and he just shows he's not an NFL quarterback. He's not anywhere near being an NFL quarterback. They haven't done anything positive to that kid, and he just keeps going downhill.
And it wasn't his throwing hand; it was his left hand.
Oh, was it his left hand? Okay.
Yeah. They say if he can practice Friday, he might be a go. But I would say that if they had Carr, I think they would cover I would say that they would cover the 13.5. Bucks are in a situation though.
Wait, hold on. I could just imagine Carr out there being with one hand in the club hand, how like all the linebackers do, and then have him being out there with the other hand. Dude, that would just be such a Carr thing to do. That would be epic.
That wouldn't even be the most surprising thing that could possibly happen this Sunday.
That would just be epic.
Now, are the Bucks going to pour it on and beat them by 2 scores? I mean, they just fucking put up. I mean, Baker just threw for 5 touchdowns the other weekend. So yeah, I think that the Bucks win.
Didn't the Packers just blank and put a big old goose egg to the Saints?
They did. That was in Lambeau in 12-degree weather on like a Thursday night or something. So this is a little bit different. This is warm weather stuff. But the Bucks are playing again for their playoff lives. So I think they're going to show.
They have to win, and they have to have the Commanders lose. But I'm right there with you. I think 14 points is a little too low. I'm going to hit the over on that all day until it hits like 15, and then I can see them blowing them out by 20 points, but if it goes over 15, I want to put a bet on it. Here was a surprising one. Colts versus Jags. Colts are favored by 5 points somehow. And I don't get that. I'm taking the Jags all the way here. Anthony Richardson can't even walk around because his back's hurt him so much. Joe Flacco showed why his age is kind of getting up there, and
he should have walked away after last season and left on a high note.
yeah. I mean, getting spanked by the Giants defense like that. Yeah, sorry, I'm going with the Jags right here. 5 points is a little bit too much.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna have to believe that Mac Jones can beat these guys, which is a weird phrase to say, but it's
Right.
a weird time of year. So,
And I don't, if anything's going to spark a fire, maybe it was Pat McAfee just like shitting all over the organization, saying trade everybody, fire everybody, and bring in everybody new talent.
yeah,
today.
I don't think anybody gives a shit what drunk ass Pat McAfee says these days. So, yeah.
Maybe the Colts fans do, because I mean he's
Colts fans do, but you know who doesn't is Jim Irsay. So
right. But who knows? He might light a fire under these Colts butts, by saying that. You know how it is. So when it gets around and stuff like
Pat
that.
McAfee is a wannabe wrestler. No, I don't think Pat McAfee doesn't carry a lot of weight with the franchise there. Texans need a win, man. They're reeling right now.
Granted, they're going to sit everybody.
This is the division matchup against a team that could that has played tough when needed to. That being said, I think the Texans are playing for some pride right now. They need to get a W before they host a playoff game. So I'm gonna take the Texans in the points.
I see the Texans sitting everybody, and because they can't do anything, because they can only be in the number 4 seed, and they don't want to risk an injury. But I'll take the Titans at the points.
Their backups out there and that defense. Again, this is a pride game. It's a division game. They need a W. They need to get some good momentum going into that first round playoff game.
Right. I get that. I get it. But I don't know. I see the Titans defense holding strong because they were going to play upset, and they're going to try to just ruin their season just a little bit more. Yeah. So their Titans defense is great as a good defense. Not the greatest defense, but it's a solid defense.
It's the only thing on their team worth watching.
It is. It really is. And I can see it giving Texans fits the rest of the whole game. So, all right. Next up, we got Giants versus Eagles. Eagles are favored by 3, even though they're going to sit all their starters, which you definitely should. I'm taking the Eagles all day with the points here. This could be a 10-point spread, and I'd probably still pick the Eagles.
Right. I mean, the Giants got a little momentum with that W they got last week, and then they're going to come crashing back to earth against a team of backups.
Even though everybody's saying, "Oh, you should let the Giants win," so it fucks up their draft position, draft order.
You know what? The Giants will find a way to fuck that up all on their own. Like, let's be honest. Right. Let's be honest.
They got rid of Saquon. No. They're going to fuck that up too. So you deserve. Even though I would totally love to see Saquon get his beat Eric Dickerson's record on Giants. Oh man, it would have been a beautiful thing. Even though I don't want Eric Dickerson's record to get broken because that's still a Rams original stat. You know. But I would
there's something poetic of doing that against the team that deemed him expendable for sure.
Right. Yeah. And just for him to have this season, I love it. I love it all day. Commanders Cowboys are favored by 6. I don't know who this Cowboys defense is. They looked great the week before, and then they came out and just completely shat the bed against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Will they do this? Now, Dan Quinn was with the Cowboys for a number of years. Do they have something on Dan Quinn, or does Dan Quinn have something on the Cowboys?
I think Dan Quinn has something on the Cowboys, and the Commanders have an explosive enough offense that is the exact same style that caused headaches for them, for the Cowboys last week. So, and the Commanders, again, they need win. They need a win to make sure they can control their own destiny going into the postseason. So I'm going to go. I think the Commanders go in and put it on and cover the 6.
See, this 6 is a little high for me. I think Commanders win, but they win by like a field goal. I think Jaden Daniels just enough to put that up there and for them to win. So I'm going to take the Cowboys with the points.
I don't think it's going to be nearly that close, but fair enough.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. Next up, we got Chiefs Broncos. Chiefs are sitting everybody. Broncos are 10.5 point. This is so weird. Broncos being a 10.5 point spread versus the Chiefs. Who is their? It's Carson Wentz. Is going to be their starter. You know what? With what I saw week 18 last year versus the Rams versus 49ers, I want to go with Wentz, and I want to see him run around and kill this 10-point spread and beat the Broncos.
See, I don't think that's going to happen. He's going to do lots of running around. But remember, the Broncos are still, again, they're trying to control their own destiny right now.
Right.
I much
Do
as
they
I
need
don't
a
like,
win? No, the
I think
Broncos aren't in it, but they need a win and someone else to lose.
No, I think they're in a wild card spot, but they're needing to win to hold the seeding.
Sure. No. Oh yeah, no, they're the number 7 seed. So yeah, they have to win to stay in it. Yeah, they have to win to stay in it. We'll look at our bracket that I made after this.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Broncos here, with the Chiefs sitting everybody, and the Broncos want to, again, trying to control their destiny. I'm going to say that, yeah, they cover the 10.5. The Chiefs, again, this is going to be a snoozer.
I went with the Chiefs to cover. Even though they haven't covered a spread all year, this is going to be one of their first spreads they cover all year.
Right.
Just because they don't want to lose by 10 points. Next up, we got Dolphins versus Jets. So, it's pretty much pick 'em game. Dolphins are favored by a point. This is going to be in New York. With the cold weather playing in effect, I'm going to go with the Jets because the Dolphins can't play in the cold.
Based on what I saw the Jets put up last week, they're done. They're already gone. If we could please be so lucky to let this be Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL, and please let him go sit in a forest somewhere and shut the fuck up and leave all of us alone.
Honestly, I'd like to see him get benched again for Tyrod Taylor halfway through the game.
That'd be great. I would love to see that. I would love for Mike McDaniels to be the guy that goes and sends A-Rod packing and riding off into the sunset.
It'd be awesome.
So I'm gonna go with the Dolphins in this one.
You're going to go Dolphins? All right. I'm just going with the Jets because it's cold, and they've shown that they cannot play in the cold weather. So
they have struggled with it. This is true, but normally they play against teams that actually try. And,
True.
There's a pretty big lack of that happening with the Jets right now. Chargers, Raiders.
Chargers are favored by 4.5 points, which is too low in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think they win easily.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, and no need to talk about that.
Right.
Next up, we got Seahawks versus Rams. Again, this is going to be one of those games where Rams are sitting everybody. Even though the Rams need a win to stay in the 3rd seed, McVay doesn't care who he plays in the playoffs. He's ready to go, ready to get his guys some rest, get some breaks. Kyron Williams needs it. Stafford needs it. Kupp needs it. Nakua is probably going to get one catch and get his 1,000 yards.
I saw that he was not going to play.
He's not going to play? I still hope they let him get his 1,000 yards. We'll see game day. Because last I heard, they're still up in the air, and that was
what I saw when looking at his fantasy lineup was he projected to have 0 points.
Makes sense because McVay likes to be cautious and sit everybody.
Well, and let's remember he was injured earlier this year. Like I get wanting to get him, like how he got on the record last year. Yeah, I totally get all of that, but there's bigger fish to fry here.
I can see McVay scheming up one play for him to get 10 yards and then sending him. So that's what I can see. I can see that. But I'm interested to see Blake Corum come out and be the lead running back for the whole game. See what he has. I wanted to personally see Bennett go out there and play, but I get why you're going to throw Jimmy G out there just to get him his one game because he's probably a better quarterback. Let's see, he's had a year and a half to sit down, almost 2 years to sit back, recover from all of his numerous injuries. So I want to see him kind of go out there and shell out. And I'm pretty sure
he played half of last season for the Raiders.
The first half.
Yeah, so I mean it's been a season.
So it's been a season, right? Yeah. That's what I mean. It's been a year, about a year.
Jimmy G knows a thing or two about beating Seattle. I just don't think it's going to happen this time. So I'm picking the Seahawks in this one.
I was going to say Mike LaFleur is probably going to be the play caller too. Sean McVay loves to dish out, gives great opportunity for his coaching staff to learn. So you'll probably see Mike LaFleur calling the awesome play calls. Probably still the defensive coordinator for the Rams is still going to call their defense coordinator. I'm interested to see who sits on the defense because all the rookies have been playing phenomenal. So they might want to leave them playing just to kind of keep them moving. But we'll see what happens. You said Seattle with the 6.5.
Yeah.
I want to take the Rams with the points. I don't see Seattle beat them by 6.5 with Jimmy G riding throwing the rock around. So we'll see.
Yeah, who's be throwing the rock to? Fucking Tutu Atwell?
Tutu Atwell, Robinson. There's a couple of, and then
Stonehands Atwell out there. Yeah.
Stonewall. Yeah, and then the guy who's been returning kicks.
Oh yeah, that dude. Yeah, that fast dude. Yeah.
The guy from Ohio State with all the long dreads. I forget 88. He's been playing. He plays well when he gets a chance. He just hasn't had a chance because he sits behind Robinson and Nakua and Cup. So we'll see. Whittington, Jordan Whittington is his name.
Thank you. Yes.
So I think he has a chance to throw it well, and I think with Blake Corum out there, he's going to get the Seahawks fits. So that's what I'm hoping for. Next up, we got the Niners versus the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are favored by 4.5 because Purdy's sitting, right?
Purdy's on Josh Dobbs is getting the start.
So what happened to Purdy? Is he hurt or
it's a bruise on his throwing elbows, the one he had the surgery on, it's a little bit of nerve irritation. There's no reason to run him out there, especially behind that makeshift offensive line. No reason to do it. Josh Dobbs actually looked great at the end of that game on Monday night. And the Niners in general came out, and if I'm a Detroit fan, I would be concerned that my defense is that porous against that beat up of a Niner team. There's no question there's no question that the Lions can run in a shootout with anybody, but at some point you need to make a stop.
Well, this Sunday, I mean, we'll get to the next game.
Right.
So let's go ahead and jump to let's see. I'm going to take Dobbs. I personally love Dobbs. I'm taking the Niners with the points. So
I was going to do the same. I want to win this. I want the season to end with a W. Go into the offseason, on a high note, get healthy, extend Purdy, reinforce that offensive line, get a new fucking kicker. Yeah.
Go for the Ohio State kicker, man. That guy kicks bombs, man. He was kicking it over
remember the Jake Moody who won the college award for best kicker? Yeah, how has that fucking worked out?
I mean, you got to keep trying. You got to keep trying.
Yeah.
If you can get him in a 4th or 5th round draft spot, why not try?
I mean, at this point, I think with Jake Moody is as much. He needs to change the scenery. Obviously, the guy, he's made big kicks. He's got a big leg. I just think he's got the yips now. He needs to change the scenery. And there's these persona non grata in Santa Clara now. So he's got to go.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it sucks for kickers. Once you get in your own head as a kicker, you're kind of done until you can get your head cleared.
We've seen it for forever. It was happened to everybody fucking not named Vinatieri.
Right. And it's funny, too, because the Rams kicker, man, he's about to, if he gets 6 points, he sets a record for the most points by a rookie. Let's see here. Where'd it go? Yeah, so Cardi became only the 3rd player in franchise history to score at least 90 points in his first 14 games in the franchise history with 92. The only other players to do that were Eric Dickerson Eric Dickerson has 120 points in 1983, and then Frank Coral in 1980 with 98 in 1978. So he can get number 2 with like a handful of field goals on Sunday.
That's impressive. That's impressive. And honestly, with a Jimmy G led offense, you kick a lot of field goals. Tell you from experience.
Right. So he's got a chance to break that. I thought that was interesting. Even though he had a slow start, but he kind of came back in there towards the end of the season. I felt more comfortable.
No, he's proven himself to be a much needed asset to that team. I mean, he's missed a couple, but all kickers do. So
right. And
then with that, NFL script writers, I don't know how the fuck you forecast this all the way back in May, but the last game of the season was going to determine the number 1 seed in the NFC in Detroit. The Lions, just destroyed on defense, putting up 40-plus points a game on offense against the Vikings in a rebuild year with Sam Darnold playing with house money right now.
Right.
It doesn't get any better than this. Like, what it reminds me of is in 2019, the Niners went to Seattle on the last game of the season, won the West, won the number 1 seed, and went to the Super Bowl.
I can see that. I can see the Vikings doing the same thing here.
Happening here.
I can see the Vikings doing it. I can see the Vikings doing it. Honestly, the Lions are just too beat up.
I am picking the Vikings to win this game. The Lions would then the loser of this game goes to the number 5 seed.
Yeah, number 5 seed.
Right. So I think the Vikings.
Wait, you said you picking Vikings? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Same here.
I'm definitely picking the Vikings here, which is just a crazy thing to think that when they started off the season, but they're doing everything the right way. It's the second year of the Brian Flores defense. You got guys like Van Ginkel and like that playing out of their mind. Sam Darnold doing everything and then some that you ask him. People forget Sam Darnold still really young. Always has had elite arm talent. You see some of the throws he makes. There's not a throw on that field that he can't get it in there. Justin Jefferson, the superlatives, you can't say enough of them. Hands down, the best receiver in the NFL in any situation. He's uncoverable. Right. You got a healthy TJ. You have a healthy TJ Hawkinson. Aaron Jones doing what needs to be done. Jordan Addison as a second receiving threat out there. This Vikings team, they look great right now. Will this be the same Vikings team that shows up in the playoffs? Because historically, wide left.
yeah. You can say that again. That's very true. That is very true. Unfortunately for the Vikings fans, it's very true.
Yeah. Actually, we talked about that in a work call today with people who are picking their Super Bowl picks, and of course all the Vikings fans said it was going to be Vikings Bills. And I'm going Eagles Bills. I don't think that Minnesota can beat Philly.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to Rams. I'm going Rams, Kansas City, and then the Rams over.
Really, you think the refs are going to help Kansas City get past Buffalo?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Because I'm sorry. I mean, Buffalo is far and away the best team in the fucking AFC this year.
They definitely are, but I still think Kansas City just they show up when it matters most, and it's going to be in the playoffs where Mahomes does his magic and just throws people open no matter what. I think their wide receiver core is finally starting to click, and that offense is finally starting to move the way it should be moving. The last couple of games, they look dangerous throwing the ball down the field, and it was partially because of Mahomes.
I get that, and there's always the Mahomes factor. I just think that what Buffalo did to them last month, and that the Buffalo defense, and Josh Allen, who is really what he can do offensively, whether you can have him covered, you can have him trapped in the backfield, you can make him scramble, you can have everybody covered down the field until that whistle blows. Josh Allen will beat you. And I think he's even more Mahomesy like that this year than Mahomes is.
Hey, I called that at the beginning of the season, man. Remember, I said Josh Allen's going to will this team to the Super Bowl, or to at least to the number one of that division over everybody. Even though they got rid of all their wide receivers, and I called it, man. Josh Allen is going to be a phenom out there. So really I love it.
It's been fun to watch. I'm standing by it. I think that Philly, they're just too complete of a team, especially offensively. I
agree.
You put a guy like Saquon Barkley when you already have Goddard, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith, and then you put a 2,000-yard rusher back there with Jalen Hurts. Yeah, dude, it's borderline unstoppable.
I mean, if anybody can stop him, the Rams defense can stop him. I feel like I know they let him run all over last time, but they're constantly improving. The Rams this year have only let 12 teams. There's 17 games. They stopped division opponents going for 24 points or less, and then in 7 of those games, 10 or less points.
Right. My question and concern with the Rams is the Rams have issues scoring points, and I think
this year.
With that Philly offense, you're not going to stop them. You're going to have to try to contain them. And I just don't think that even if you do a good job of keeping Saquon under 100 yards and stuff like that, I don't know if the Rams have the firepower to put up enough points to keep up with a team like Philly.
They beat the Bills 44-41.
Right. They gave up 41 points.
Yeah. Yeah, the 41 points is their 2 worst games that they had. The Cardinals and then the Bills.
Philly defense is leaps and bounds better than that Buffalo one. So
when they played, it was 37.
that's my knock on the Rams. And I can go through all of these teams and point out like my I can pick them all apart, one by one. But that's my problem with the Rams is I don't think that they have the offensive firepower this year if they get into a shootout in the playoffs to hang.
I hope that changes. I hope Sean McVay stops sandbagging and he actually throws out some play calls that make him win games. I feel like
maybe
that's the biggest thing.
He's got the magic play card in his back pocket. He's been waiting for the postseason, but that's my one concern with the Rams. Really, I know that that defense can smother and they can run to the ball, and they get the timely turnovers and all that kind of stuff. I just don't know if you're playing a team that's going to put up 40 points a game.
I'm hoping they can. I'm really hoping they can. Like, it scares me too. Like, I don't know whether if to make McVay sandbagging or if it was just Jared Goff magic of him and McVay actually throwing the rock down the field, scoring 30-plus points a game, because I haven't really seen it since they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl 7-3. You know, that kind of offensive firepower has been slowly declining, and something needs to change, and I'm hoping it changes this playoffs. I hope it was a wake-up call, losing to or barely beating the Cardinals and barely beating the Niners and barely beating the Seahawks. So they need to kind of knock that kind of crap off.
We'll know in a couple weeks.
All right, we'll know in 2 weeks. We'll know in 2 weeks right now the Rams are slated to play the Commanders, and then who knows after that. And honestly, on the NFC side, I wouldn't mind being the number 4 seed. I really wouldn't. Because then you're going to play the second, you're going to play the highest number one. That would be probably either the Buccaneers the Eagles.
I think either the Lions or the Vikings take apart Tampa Bay in that first round matchup.
Right. But then, so it would be the 5 seed and the 2 seed and the 3 seed. So the Lions would have to play the Vikings again.
Yeah. The Lions and the Vikings are going to be in the playoffs again at some point this year. And it's just, that's going to be
and it'll be the division. It'll be the divisional round.
It'll be the divisional round. It's going to be great. It is going to be, it's going to be so good.
It's going to be great, dude. It's going to be epic. Yeah. I should probably go like this, the divisional round.
Yeah.
But yeah. Dude, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to these playoffs. These are, especially on the NFC side, these teams are so evenly matched, especially since they're all in the NFC North. On the AFC side, don't get me wrong, like the Texans are just too hurt. They're going to get beat. Same thing with the Steelers. There's something wrong with their offense. They're not playing up to par. And then the Chargers have a chance just because I believe in Harbaugh. And then
we're gonna get a playoff Harbaugh. It's gonna be great,
dude. That would be epic, dude. That would be epic.
Right now,
it is. Yeah, it is. And dude, that would be epic. It would really be epic. But I just think the Ravens would steam. Unfortunately, the Ravens, I think, would kind of walk all over the Chargers right now.
The Ravens have like the 30th ranked pass defense out there right now.
True. But the Chargers can't catch the ball to save their lives.
Sorry, Ladd McConkey should be. If there wasn't Jaden Daniels, Ladd McConkey would be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I saw a clip. I forget their other guy that their number 2 wide receiver. He couldn't even pick up the ball. Quentin Johnson couldn't even pick up the ball off the ground. That was the hilarious clip I ever saw. They're like, yeah, he can't even grab the ball off the ground, and he was like off on the sideline, and he's like kicking the ball around, can't pick it up. It was just a sad look.
Yeah, he also made some great catches last week against the Patriots in traffic. Went up and got it. Like, he's the dude who will go and make the circus catch and then drop the easy slant in with no one within 3 yards of him. It's
right. It's crazy. It's crazy to watch.
Maddening as a coach. It's gonna be maddening as a coach. So so we'll definitely next Thursday be able to tap back in and we'll have the playoff matchups here finalized. But it's gonna be a fun month. It's gonna be a real fun month.
I'm loving it. I'm loving football this time of year. Bowl games all year, every day. There's a new bowl game mod, and some of them are decent games, some of them are not. Like this Ole Miss game was supposed to be the only one on, and they're just blowing out Duke. It's like 30-7, 31-7. Yeah, but it's interesting to see Josh Dart run around there and do Josh Dart things. I think he's going to be ready be an NFL quarterback. in a couple of years, sitting behind a good team, I think he's got a chance to be a decent quarterback in the NFL.
That wasn't working anyway.
Any other good sports stories you heard over the weekend?
Ovechkin's coming back. Looks like he's still on pace to break Gretzky's record this year, which is, again, that's not one of those records I never thought I'd see fall in our lifetime, but it speaks to the timeless insanity of Alexander Ovechkin.
100%. It really does, and he's gonna keep pushing hard to stop it or to go for it because he really wants it. He could taste it, and he's gonna push hard to get it.
Right out there. It sucks that he got hurt when he did. Like
100%.
But I mean, if he'll come back, break it next year, and then go retire in Russia.
Right? Yeah.
But I also feel like
he will come back next year.
Well, he's going to be like a type of dude like Yager who's going to be playing into his 50s in, a Russian Super League or somewhere over there like that. Like, all the guy knows how to do is play hockey. So,
right. Yeah. And he's a guy that I still love to watch, even though he's ancient and just barely putting up points, but it's still fun to watch him play.
Yeah, I'm sure. It was pretty cool.
Watching him win that Stanley Cup that year, dude, and watching him go nuts with the trophy. I needed that earlier in Ovechkin's life.
I've never been that happy about anything in my entire fucking life, dude. Like,
right.
Like, winning a championship is hard, but something about the Stanley Cup is the coolest championship in all the sports. Without
right, and you deserve to party with it. I love how they like, oh yeah, you get like the best players get like a week with it. It's like it's so magical that they get all this time.
Partying and drinking out of it in a fountain outside of the National Stadium, like in the middle of a Saturday afternoon in downtown DC, and just like
was epic.
The joy in his face was like, yeah, like that was pretty cool, man. That's
what I mean. Him celebrating with that trophy was the best thing ever.
And that was a year that they weren't supposed to win. Like they had no business winning that year. You see it in hockey all the time. They got hot, and when you got a Hall of Fame player carrying the team on their back, like it was really, really cool to see.
Right. Even though we're on the other end of that, who knows what celebrating he could be? I keep hearing like they keep asking him about Rookie of the Year. He's like, I don't want to lose. Stop asking me stupid questions. I want to start winning. That's all I care about. So that's what we want.
He's one of the few players this year averaging a point a game.
Still, as a rookie, on a shitty team.
As a rookie, I think that if he keeps this up and stays healthy, he gets Rookie of the Year. I just want to see the continued growth of the Sharks team. I want to see when the deadline comes around, are there some pieces that we could swap out, move some contracts if need be, bring some guys in, look into the future. Like there's some options there. But as we say every week, the Sharks are moving in the right direction.
Even though they only have 28, so it's like, they only have 12 wins.
I think it was 12 or 13 or something. But it's not just the wins, it's the competitiveness and a lot of the losses. They're lots of overtime losses, 1-goal losses, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So
they're not getting beat 10-0 anymore, which is nice.
Last year they were fucking unwatchable. They were so bad. This year, I actually enjoy watching Sharks games. They look like a competent hockey team out there. It's a night and day difference.
100%. I agree with you. It's still tough to watch my Sharks not be competitive in every game.
Dude, we had a 2-decade run there of watching great teams with Hall of Famers going to the playoffs every year. There's a lot of fan bases and a lot of sports that would kill for that. Like we got spoiled.
I did. That's what I mean. It's hard to watch them not be competitive for a playoff.
Yeah.
Because that was my whole life, as a Sharks fan, competitive for a playoff spot every year. Yeah. So
it was. So no, that's all I got.
Yeah, me too. Let's see here. I did wish Kitchens didn't make that late interception last night Sunday versus the Rams. It would have made the game a little bit more out of reach for the Cardinals. A little bit of a rookie mistake. I was like, dude, why'd you catch that? I was like, oh, he's going to run. Oh, and then all of a sudden he slides. Why'd you slide? If you're going to catch it, why'd you slide? You got to go for it, man.
then you realize you shouldn't have caught it. So like, oh, maybe I just go down. It's like, no, that's the second wrong choice you've made in about 4 seconds, dude. So yeah,
That's a rookie mistake for you,
that's
but you know,
that's
next time around, I think he'll learn to spot the ball if it's fourth down and have the mental
it's
forethought.
the heat of the battle. It's the heat of the battle.
Right. He's a
You know?
rookie. You know, he wants all these picks. That's his third pick. You know, he's like, oh, I can do this. Especially since he did that in Seattle and he ran it back for a touchdown.
Right.
I think that's kind of what he was thinking. He's like, oh, I'm going to get another pick six right here. All I got to do is go through a couple linemen. He kind of looked up at the 10-yard line and said, oh, wait, what did I do? And just went, like you said, just went down.
Yeah.
So
it's youthful exuberance.
Right. That was awesome to watch, but at the same time, like, dude. Did you see the Witherspoon interception too?
Yeah. Okay. Here's my question on that. If a receiver catches it like that and it touches the ground, that's incomplete. We've all seen it. We've all seen it being called that way. But when a defensive player does it, the interception stands.
Right. Well, did the ball touch the ground? I thought the ball didn't touch the ground.
The ball definitely touched the ground.
But he had control of it. They said he had control of it.
Dude, you and I have both seen multiple receivers have passes ruled incomplete in that exact same scenario.
I think because in the original situation they called it incomplete, but in that situation they called it an intercept. They called it a complete, so they didn't have anything concrete to overturn it.
Yeah, I get it. It's one of the gray areas of the rule. I just feel like just be consistent with the calls. You know, we're getting to the postseason here. Like, just, you know, and again, like the way that Murray just whipped that ball in there at a bazillion miles an hour and went off McBride's helmet, you know? It's like, dude, I get you have to throw the football while the guys are still on their routes, but if he didn't
see a brown paint mark on this helmet, dude.
That would have gotten stuck in the ear hole if it was like at a different angle, man. Like it's...
Yeah. And did you know that if your hand touches the pylon and not the ball, it's considered out? So that's why he didn't get it at the touchback spot, because his hand hit the pylon and not the ball.
Did not know that.
That's why he didn't get it at the touchback spot. That's why they got it at the half-yard line, and they had to do that stupid, like, okay, let's do the QB or the tush push here and try not to break Matthew Stafford's back as we're trying to get into the 1-yard line so he can nail the ball.
For a play like that, put fucking young Stetson Bennett in there. You know, like I guess
that's what I thought too.
Dude, you're young and healthy. You haven't had any surgeries.
Dude, or at least give it to Kyron Williams to try.
Wildcat it with Kyron Williams or something, dude. Like
that's what I was thinking too. Is like, why you forcing Matthew Stafford to try to take an injury this late in the season for a dumb tush push? I know Matthew Stafford is tough enough to do it, but don't.
And here's my look. I respect Matthew Stafford. I do. Like, dude's had a really solid NFL career. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer yet.
Same. I've said it. I've said it too.
And I'm tired of his wife constantly trying to sell me stuff on TV. Go the fuck away.
Because
go the fuck
I'm in California. I don't see any of her commercials here. That's interesting. You're in the Northwest where he played for many years. That's why.
I don't even watch that much TV. That's the thing too. Is why Kelly Stafford's trying to sell me fucking mattresses and fucking home insurance and all kinds of bullshit, dude. And I just
that's fucking epic, dude. I did not know that she was on TVs out there.
Kelly Stafford, I'd rather motherfucking Brock Purdy went to Iowa State. I share a border with Iowa. Give me Brock Purdy and his new wife. Sell me John Deere tractors or fucking boots or something. Why is Kelly Stafford in my life? Toyotas. Yeah. Why is Kelly Stafford in my life? I just see it and I'm just like, oh, damn you, Staffords. Damn you.
I did not know that. That's interesting that they own that many businesses, or she's like a celebrity out there.
An endorsee. It's the endorsements, you know, like
crazy times.
That's my peeve.
I guess with that, we'll go ahead into the podcast tonight with your little. We had to get a Zack rant in there one of these days before we left. You know what I mean?
I had a small one earlier. You know me. I get going.
Right. That's part of the reason why we're making this pod. We gotta get our rants out there.
Well, go lift heavy stuff in the gym, kids. Or you can be like me and like a gangster in a Guy Ritchie movie. So, oi, wanker.
With that, we wish you all a happy New Year.
Everybody.
Stay safe. Crazy world. Remember, the easiest way to make money on the internet is to scare you guys. Good night and goodbye.
See you guys.